Good morning, church. It's January the 26th, and we're in Matthew 5:31 through 32. So we're still in the Sermon on the Mount. It was also said, "Whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that everyone who divorces his wife except on the ground of sexual immorality makes her commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery." This is a pretty heavy concept, especially in our modern times when marriage has become something that's easy to get into, easy to get out of. But let's go back to the Old Testament. From the very beginning, the foundational book of the Bible in Genesis, God's first positive commandment to humanity was, "Be fruitful and multiply." And the vehicle he chose to do that was the institution of marriage. He made woman out of man, and the two will become one flesh, and what God has joined together may no one separate. And so this was the marriage bond, the covenant that God established. The first institution God set up in the Bible was the family. And we know the enemy is alive and well and trying to destroy the family at every turn. Well, in Jesus' day, marriage was very much a collapsing institution. There were two schools of thought. Moses in Deuteronomy 24:1 said that a man could, if he finds something objectionable with his wife, could give her a certificate of divorce. And so there were two schools of thought. The most strict being the Rabbi Shimi, and he said that only unfaithfulness, basically chastity, was the standard. And if a woman was immoral, then that was the only grounds for which divorce could be granted. There was another school, the school of Hillel, and Hillel said that anything objectionable could be something like having a meal prepared and the woman puts too much salt on the husband's meal, and he could divorce her by offering that certificate of divorce in front of witnesses, two witnesses, and then they were both free to go their own way. Well, you can understand human nature being what it is, that people would gravitate toward the more liberal school, and that's what happened. So much so that at the point when Jesus arrived on the scene, girls didn't want to be married because the marriage was so insecure. It was said that a man could marry and divorce only by his will, and that a woman could be divorced with or without her will. So a woman really had no rights. She was property. And so Jesus comes in and he's restoring what God already established. Jesus is a reformer. He's spelling out the strict guidelines for marriage. And this is hard because we see the first we see the collapse of marriage in the Jewish culture, and then the Greeks and the Romans had their own strange ideas about marriage. And so Christianity is entering this new world with all of its ideas, and it's proposing a more strict understanding of what divorce should be. And this is a hard thing to accept. And one of the mistakes that sometimes we make as pastors is when somebody's going through marital trouble, we'll quote Malachi 2:16, "God hates divorce." Well, he does. But we need to come alongside people and help them through their struggles and show sympathy and show mercy and show understanding. And if anyone is in a situation where they are being physically abused, we need to make sure that they get separated from that and that we come alongside them and help them. So let's praise God for our marriages, our healthy marriages, and for the family, and for being able to exercise his positive commandment, which is to be fruitful and multiply. And we can just see in our world how far things have gotten out of whack. And philosophers have noted that the collapse of civilization is caused by the collapse of marriage. I hope that you all will ponder these things, and if anyone is struggling with a bad marriage, that they would seek good, godly counsel. Thank you. Have a blessed day.